online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads from over 200 countries and your #1 source in after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, AfterBuzzers. We're here during another AfterBuzz TV after show for MTV's Teen Wolf Season 4, Episode 11, A Promise to the Dead. I'm your host, Kristen Elizabeth Snyder, and joining me, AfterBuzz TV host June Lee.
Hello. Hello, hello.
Our special guest plays Brett. Please welcome Cody Saintgnue.
Ow! That was awesome. That was really cool. That was a dope build-up.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much.
No, of course. Like I've definitely been a fan of AfterBuzz, and I think you guys totally rock, and I'm totally honored to be here.
Thank you. We think you rock.
Yes, you have become one of our favorites this season.
And fan favorites.
We're
too.
so excited that you joined the lacrosse team, and you are a badass on lacrosse. You're teaching lessons out there on the field.
He's so sweet too. Like that moment between him and Liam.
He was sweet after he lit him up on the field.
Well, I mean, Brett. I think Brett and I can speak for Liam too. They're both competitive lacrosse sports players, but Brett, I think it was really interesting this last episode. He definitely showed a vulnerable side and showed another layer that I don't know if people were too familiar with.
Aware with, yeah.
Yeah, we weren't aware with it because honestly, when you first came in, I think we suspected you to be a villain because we had no idea that you were actually a werewolf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when he steps out of the bus, like this hot, preppy, snobby guy.
You were bossing people around.
And kind of just being really mean to Liam and being like,
yeah. I mean, it's true. I mean, the way I looked at it, he definitely was very, jerkish, to Liam, but the way I tried to look at it and view it from Brett's perspective is there's a huge loyalty element to that. Liam did demolish Coach's car, and Brett had an opportunity to, when Liam shook his hand to change that whole outcome, he didn't.
Yes.
Which Cody would have. That's something I would have. But there was definitely a big loyalty element to there, and it did set a very strong tone, to say the least, for Brett.
It did. Well, we have a caller on the line already.
Whoa.
Caller, what's your name? Where are you from?
Hi, this is Ariana from Minnesota.
Hi, Ariana.
Ariana.
Do you have a question for Cody?
Hi, I wanted to ask him what it was like to film Teen Wolf coming into this new show that was already established, and how was it working with the cast, and who was your favorite to work with, and all that.
We want to know everything.
You want the whole experience. It was it was crazy. I was so humbled and honored that a hit show such as MTV's Teen Wolf wanted me to be a part of their season. First off, and secondly, what is it like working with the cast? I mean, dude, everyone's so freaking talented. I mean, working with them, it almost makes my job easier because I'm working with just such great actors. And
well, you're also very talented. Let's not be.
Did they take you under their wing and practice with you on the side? What was that like coming in completely fresh?
There was a lot of pressure because coming in, especially half mid-season, everyone already has their favorites, and people already have history with these characters. So I was like, I don't know how much they're gonna like Brett. We're gonna see.
I think there are a lot of people that like you, especially after last night with Brett, with Liam.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that was a really cool moment. I'm really glad that Jeff wrote that arc in there for those two to, you know, find some amends, and you know, that's just what happens, I think, in life. That's what Teen Wolf is such a cool show. There's always a life message, and it shows people to put aside your differences due to life circumstances, and, you know, coming together. I think it was really cool.
Totally.
Before we let Ariana go, can you share maybe a set story with one? Did they ever play like a prank on you or something?
A prank.
I mean, I feel like it happened.
Tyler Posey is always up to no good.
I knew it. I felt it coming.
He's just always like bringing the energy, and he always likes to like scare people. Like there's definitely on one of the after shows of Teen Wolf, there was definitely a clip of him scaring Kira, and if you look,
I saw that.
If you look, I kind of flinched too, but the camera was more on her.
I think I did see that. I definitely saw that.
So yeah, that's, you know, always count on Tyler to bring the energy.
Oh my God.
Ariana, thank you so much for calling in. We really appreciate the support.
Yeah, bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
So let's go ahead and start talking about the episode, and then we'll get back to your character later. 'Cause of course, we want to know everything.
Of course.
So Alan, we find out Deaton's first name is Alan. I'm not sure if we knew that before. Maybe we did, but I was just like, okay. And then he's saving this girl from a Wendigo so that he can sort of make a trade at Eichen House in order to talk to Dr. Valak, who we've never met, but apparently has some pretty strong powers.
Yeah.
I didn't really even understand what this guy is, so I'm hoping we get more of him. He like drilled a hole in his forehead and has a third eye there.
You know, to me, that is a mystery too. Like, I didn't know was he a supernatural that already had that?
Yeah.
Did he surgically, you know, he is a doctor, so you don't know. Maybe it's like, you know,
some Frankenstein stuff.
It could be, you know.
Totally.
Dr. The other Dr. Deaton. What's his Deaton.
Yeah.
Deaton. Dr. Deaton, you know, kind of has some supernatural doctoress, so maybe this is like his arch evil enemy.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I thought he was supernatural for sure, but he has like this like Silence of the Lamb thing, like.
Yes, that is perfect. Yeah,
Right?
I definitely felt that. I was
totally
worried
felt
for
that.
Dean. Of course, none of us wanted him to step closer.
No,
but he did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what exactly happened there? Did the eye like put him in a trance? Was it sort of like hypnotic?
I know, there was a trance
There
going
was something.
on.
It was a very Medusa-like quality. It was like looking into, you know, I don't know, he messed with his inner psyche or something, and I was really sad about that because he's such a nice, good character, and I was like, no.
But Lydia steps in and brings him out of this trance, and I would have liked to see that because all I can imagine her doing is like screaming in his ear, right?
That woke me up. I mean,
our limited creativity.
Yeah. Well, she's a banshee. What else is she gonna do?
I know. I agree. I feel like it was one of those moments where like they just had so much, because it was such an amazing episode. You know, there was so much going on, and like you just could feel that the writers wanted to show it, but there just wasn't time.
I want to get more from that character, though.
Maybe
Maybe
that's
that's
a flashback in the last one.
Yeah, and also maybe that's sling pipe for next season too. Who knows?
Teen Wolf is definitely notorious for setting things up for the future. You know, they throw little elements in there, and it's kind of like a little seed that just grows, and you're like, oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about what all Deaton found out while he was there, because it looked like he was in the church catacombs is where he was.
Yeah, he was transported. That's what makes me think is that I feel like the doctor has supernatural powers, and he might have put the eye in there so that he can communicate that with others, you know? So he just wanted to show people.
I like that. Okay, so
Glad you like that.
moving on. I like where you're going with that. I'm satisfied. We can move on now. So Scott's mom finds the bag of money, and she's like, "How long have you had this?" And he's like, "Too long." And I really like that part where she says, "You know, Scott, you can save people's lives, but you can't save them from life. Life is full of struggles." And I really liked that because it was so true. And he was handing over the money and being like, "This can pay for the roof. This can pay for Eichen House bills for Stiles." And she's like, "What can this one pay for?" That's like covered in blood.
That was like my heart. I was like, oh, man.
That's that little reminder
of what it was all about.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's true, and I think in a way that'll be a cool lesson for Scott, because Scott is always being the hero that tries to save everyone. And as they say, no good deed goes unpunished. And I think that that's a good thing for Scott to keep in mind, that, you know, there's just some things that are out of your control, and that's just with everyday life too. There's just some things you know It's just
He wants to fix everything.
I know.
But I also feel like a part of it is like, you know, Stiles wouldn't be involved in Eichen House and all these things if he wasn't Scott's best friend. And I kind of feel like he feels a responsibility.
Right, that makes a lot of sense.
You know?
That's a great point, Jan.
Yeah.
So Derek's not at all upset because this money wasn't even his. He invests in lofts and apartment buildings.
How cute was
just
that
kicking it.
moment? How cute was that moment when like when Scott is like, oh my God, there's another vault in here?
Yeah.
I put on money.
That was so Posey-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about Liam a little bit and how he was just seeing these berserkers everywhere. So,
Wow,
I mean,
yeah.
he's so traumatized by
So
this
sad.
situation. And thankfully, your character was there to, you know, kind of help him
Yeah.
see what was going on and bring him out of that trance or nightmare, really. But, I mean, what does Liam have to do in order to get past this traumatizing event?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's a what does one have to do? I think he really needs to, you know, work on his mindset. The first thing that comes to my head, you know, I know that Brett's pack is the Satomi pack, and we are Buddhist werewolves, and we are all about
So cool.
control.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
cool.
We're all about control, and you know, we definitely have a monstrous side to us, but we learn to control, and I think that's where Liam needs to understand. Also, he's so young, so I'm sure there's lots of I mean, if you really think about it, you know, it's a 16-year-old going through that at that age when there's just so much you don't even understand.
know.
Like what? Like I would have post-traumatic stress disorder, berserker syndrome too.
I like that. I think that's a new thing.
Hashtag Berserker Syndrome.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, do you guys think that it's important that he perhaps faces another berserker?
I think so. That's where I was going with that.
Wow.
Is that I feel like there's a reason why he's being haunted by the berserker. You know what I mean? The berserker went after everybody, but I feel like there's a reason that Liam had a specific reaction, and I feel like it might actually be Liam that kills the berserker.
Whoa.
Not
That's
Scott.
a nice prediction. So
That'd be
Stephanie
really
Golding does ask, do you think that Brett considers leaving Satomi's pack and joining Scott's because he seemed sort of jealous of Liam? I mean, we get that whole speech from him saying, you know, Scott's not strong because of how much he can lift, but rather, you know, his strength and character.
Yeah, and how much you can endure. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gave a brilliant speech.
seriously.
Loved it.
Kudos to
my
Jeff
God.
Davis.
I know,
Amazing writer.
seriously. Wow.
No, thank you. That's very nice. You know, I don't know. I think that Brett is so loyal. I think that maybe there's a way to, you know, maybe learn from Scott. You know, the only way that me personally, just from what I know so far, is that since he is so loyal, I don't see him just leaving. Maybe if something happened to Satomi, and maybe it'd be like a whole adoption werewolf thing,
I like
maybe
that.
like a ceremony. I'm just making. I have no idea, but you know, maybe something like that even.
You know, I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna say I see alpha qualities in Brett, and I think that there might be like. I don't know, like if Satomi passes away for some reason, he might kind of take over as a new alpha of that group.
I mean, that would be really cool. It's funny, actually.
Right?
A lot of fans have been saying that. They've definitely been saying.
Really?
Yeah, actually, that's a lot of fans have been
Nice.
saying Brett would make a great alpha because all throughout the episode you see him caring, you know, for you know,
the
Lily, my
other-
sister,
exactly.
and making sure his pack's good. And he does have that intense badassness to like take care of stuff when he needs to.
And it seemed like you really looked up to Scott when you were talking about it. We actually have another caller on the line.
Yay.
Caller, what's your name?
There was a
Where are you
caller
from?
before me? You're crazy.
Yes,
Is
we
this
all
Josh?
are crazy.
Is this Josh?
This sounds like Josh from Florida. He's a huge
How
fan.
are you guys?
Hi, Josh. Do you have a question for Cody?
Yes. Cody, first of all, bro, like, I'm impressed. Don't get me wrong. Like, at first, I was like, Brett, you know, kind of giving me those Jackson vibes, or maybe like what you would have seen
totally.
if Jackson was continuing on the show.
I like that.
That's an
I
interesting
already
point.
kind of, I like your play on it, and you're doing a good job, and I just can't wait to see more this season and next season because, come on.
Dude,
Come
bro,
on.
dude, that is so, dude, thank you so much. Like, I really appreciate, you know, it's really cool, you know, hearing a fan have a great reaction, because they didn't give me too much how to play Brett. They just kind of threw him at me, and so I really crafted a very specific how I felt about him. So
wow.
I really, you know, I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
That's amazing.
No problem. And question-wise would just be, so far, what would you say has been the hardest scene for you to film, and what's been the easiest?
That's a great question, Josh.
You know, the
from what we've seen so far. Obviously.
Yeah, from what you've seen so far, I'd say the hardest was when, you know, I was getting pegged with arrows in the rain scene.
Yeah.
I mean, not only was that just, you know, I've never done action scenes before. Like, this is my first, you know, they've really been testing me all around what I can do. And, you know, they went through, like, I think 14,000 gallons of water or something to just, like...
I hear it just pours.
And that water was freezing! I mean, it was so cold.
No.
But, you know, that, and in terms of, like, action, you know, getting hit in the face with a crossbow, that was probably the most challenging. The most easy scene, I'd have to say, would be, you know, I probably this last monologue that I did with Liam, you know, because you know, myself, I'm almost like the Dr. Phil for my friends. I'm very, like,
I totally sense that.
Yeah, like,
I
I really, you know, if you even look at my tweets, like, I'm always tweeting inspirational stuff. Like, I'm totally all about, like, making people feel good, understanding them, helping them. And so, you know, that's where me and Brett definitely met eye to eye, was in that last night's scene for sure.
That's great.
That's awesome. We can sense your energy, even in this room. No, you do. You give off a very positive energy.
Thank you.
Well, Josh, thank you so much for calling. We always appreciate your calls and your support. You have great questions.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh. So we get that scene where Derek's alarm's going off in his loft, and Lydia shows up screaming. We get that nice little naked scene with Braden.
I know.
Shout out to Braden.
Megan Tandy.
I tweeted Megan Tandy. She was here. She was on a couple of episodes ago, and I was like, your bod. Oh my God.
Killing him.
How does that even happen? Like, jeez.
She
This is
definitely
such a steamy episode. Like,
Yeah.
all around.
Really
This show's
was.
just steamy.
No, but this episode was extra steamy.
The show definitely it has that sexy, steamy vibe, but I definitely think last night there was a lot of different steaminess. You know, there's the romantic with, you know, Scott and Kira, which was adorable, and then there was Braden with a shotgun and with that amazing body. I was like, it was
Can't get any more sexier than that.
His jaw did not drop.
Seriously.
So when you have to film, I know we've had some of the actresses and actors talk about this before, when they have to film their scenes that are shirtless or, you know, in little clothing, do you prepare a certain way? I mean, because they say, you know, you can't maintain that all the time, that, you know, they will really prepare like 2 weeks ahead of time.
Well, you know.
Well, that's nice to know.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I definitely had a trainer leading up to my shirtless scenes. I can say that. But, you know, it just goes to show how much everyone really cares about the show, specifically Jeff. He put so much into it. He went and funded a whole gym on the set. And he has a trainer that goes and works people out, and to make sure that, you know, not only that, of course, they look great for the audience, but they also feel confident, you know, because that's a vulnerable thing. So,
totally.
you know.
No, but you look great.
I can't imagine anybody on this show feeling vulnerable.
I mean, we're at the heart of it. Actors are very maybe it's me. We're insecure people.
No,
we just,
totally.
you know.
No, I totally know what you mean. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. No. Well, do you have a specific diet that you eat? We had Lydia on, and she was like telling us, Holland Roden was telling us like some of the stuff that Hoechlin eats on set when he's like preparing. She said he just goes through like packets and packets of meat.
Oh yeah, it's like
so it's like very kind of ketogenic.
I guess so. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I definitely have a specific. My trainer has it, and he busts my ass about it. I mean, I eat a lot. Although if I don't eat a lot, I look like a tall, skinny avatar. So I have to make sure I'm always eating. And like, you know, my breakfast is like 7 egg whites, 2 packets of oatmeal, then a protein shake, like 8 ounces of meat. It's like just constantly eating. I'm walking around very lethargic.
All of that for like breakfast?
Throughout, well, the first part, 7 egg whites and 2 packets.
Goodness.
Yeah, it's vicious.
Wow, that's a lot. Well, it sounds delicious. You're making me hungry. Thanks for the tips.
Yeah.
I'm gonna probably just eat that throughout the entire day tomorrow. It's way too much for me. But so we get Malia trying to wake Stiles up for the early practice he has because they're preparing for their very first lacrosse game at home. And she is kind of being a little rude about waking him up. And then she looks at his wall and notices that, you know, as one of the questions on his wall and who he's trying to figure out is the desert wolf. So he's looking for her mother, which then, you know, puts a little smile on her face, and she decides to make out with him, even though he hasn't brushed his teeth yet.
That was
so
cute.
sweet.
I was like, wow, that's adorable.
Yeah, I feel like,
I love them together.
I love them too. You know,
I just love everybody together.
Everybody.
No, not like everybody together.
Let's just all hug.
20 seconds. Apparently, you're supposed to hug for 20 seconds, I learned.
Really?
Oh, why? What?
Because it takes 20 seconds for, like,
build a
endorphins to leave your brain, which actually make you feel good. You're supposed to
That's
get...
a long time. That's cuddling.
I know, but...
That's cuddling. That's not a hug. 20 seconds is
I'm
cuddling.
saying, after 20 seconds, though, you really feel a connection, and, like, it makes you feel better.
I believe it. I totally... that gives your body, your brain and body to relax and to actually...
Get in the
choose
moment.
It's feel the connection.
Yeah, and endorphins are released.
Okay, so group hug after
but
this.
it takes 20 seconds. We're going to have the countdown.
Oh, done,
we'll have it
All right.
down.
For sure.
So then Malia, she passes her test, or at least one of them.
Yeah.
And Kira's telling Lydia, you know, Deadpool's over. You don't have to worry about it. But, you know, we saw her scream, and she looks on the board, just, you can tell death is coming still.
Yeah. I thought it was odd that Lydia had such a kind of like stoic reaction to Malia's test scores, the C-.
I think she's just like out of it.
Totally.
She is still like, you know, wanting to find out who's going to die. Because she gets these premonitions, but she still doesn't quite know how to handle it so she can prevent the death. You know?
She has no other alpha banshees to help her out along the ride. She's literally figuring this out all on her own as she goes, which is...
I feel like throughout the season, she's kind of like been forced to be an adult all on her own.
Yeah.
You know, she has like no guidance, nobody kind of like to lean on. Allison's gone. Scott's worried about his pack. Like,
well, we got some good news. Sheriff Stilinski wants to take everyone out to dinner because Eichenhouse let the bills go, considering they almost got murdered last week, Stiles and Lydia. So they at least don't have to worry about that. And we find out Malia's favorite food is deer.
That was I tweeted out Stiles' lyrics out of pizza. You like pizza?
You like pizza?
I was like, that is hilarious.
What's your favorite food now that we're on the topic?
oh yeah.
Oh man, my favorite food.
Is it pizza? It's pizza.
Pizza with deer meat.
I like that. Deer pepperonis.
Yeah, deer. No,
poor deer.
I know. No, I'm always tweeting about Thai food.
Oh.
Have you been to Palms Thai on Hollywood Boulevard?
No.
Try it. Their pad Thai is amazing.
You guys have to go to Cholada.
Cholada. I'm writing it down.
It's on PCH.
Okay.
It's like so beautiful to drive there. I mean, it's on PCH.
Oh,
and
wow.
like you would never imagine a Thai place on the beach, but it's
really
like
that's
so
amazing.
delicious.
I would love to take a girl on a date there then.
It's
like,
a very kind
the
of
beach,
unpretentious.
Thai food.
Call in 424-256-1729.
Does anyone want to go on a date with me on the beach? Grab some Thai food.
Thai food with bread.
I have a feeling we're blowing up the phones right now.
Seriously.
This
I
is
feel
hilarious.
like they're just frying up, like no one's getting through.
Probably. I think that's what's happening. Oh my god, you guys are so cute. So let's move on to Argent. He tracked down Kate finally and the Berserkers.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he also finds Peter. Who, you know.
Peter, I'm gonna smack him.
He's like, I'm not gonna.
He lost me.
He's like, I'm not gonna kill you because Kate. I promised Kate I wouldn't, but I'm gonna stick this pole in you, and I'm gonna leave you here to die. So
that's just his little game. He likes to play that neutral. Like, I'm not really a bad guy. I'm not doing enough to quite, but you know.
Yes.
But you know what? Anyone that shoves a metal rod through my stomach, you're not good. I'll tell you that.
Exactly.
You're definitely not good.
I agree with that.
I wonder if fans like 820 Monster on YouTube like still don't want Peter to die. You know,
I don't want him to die still.
I gotta say, and I love
Ian Bowen.
I love Ian. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But then, like, wow, Peter made me angry.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
That
You
was
can't be
not
shoving
cool.
rods through people.
No,
You cannot. I mean,
No.
I still want his character to find some redemption
Yeah.
and like have an arc, but apparently the writer said that's not going to happen.
No.
Really?
That's what they
Wait,
said.
are we allowed to? Spoiler alert.
They've told us,
Ooh.
yeah, they've said it on here before that they never saw him, coming, turning good. They've
that's
always just seen him as the bad guy.
I think it would be, I personally, myself, I think what would be really cool is maybe since, Malia, she started, I think that there's a room to maybe him leave the show learning from his ways and maybe leaving on a good note instead of being such a shithead.
Yeah,
just
I
kind
think
of
there
like-
is room for that. I think
hope
you're
so.
right.
That would be cool. I mean,
Like, not necessarily dying, but kind of like,
yeah.
okay, I see that you have a family here with Scott and Stiles.
Exactly, he has a daughter. I mean, and or if he does die, I think since he was such a OG on the show, I think that maybe he
Yes,
could.
he was.
He's OG.
Yeah,
he's
no,
for
he
sure
is.
OG.
He is.
Have you guys worked together?
Me and Ian, have we had a scene? No. I've had almost a scene with everyone else but him.
He's kind of like a slippery one to get a scene
Yeah,
with.
well, and his scenes are pretty much always alone because he's like making these plans.
Right,
alone.
so diabolical, meticulous. He plays it so well, though.
He does.
Well, I think Ian is a very, very smart person. I think
Oh, yeah.
he's just very, very smart. So I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like he utilizes that in his villainous qualities.
Definitely.
It definitely shows through, when the way he's plotting, and he plays like the I'm innocent just enough, but like I'm
Yep.
not, and you know it. I'm like, fuck you, shithead.
He'd be horrible to date, right, Peter? He'd be like playing
Peter.
everybody.
Oh yeah, no, totally not relationship material.
I do want to see like his relationship with the Desert Wolf, though. Do you guys
Oh, that's
think
interesting. Oh yeah.
What about Deaton though? When he was like, I made a promise to a woman,
woman.
I loved. Like
the way I took that it was not necessarily romance. A woman he loved was not necessarily romantic.
Interesting. Do you think
What do
he
you mean
was?
by that?
Do you think
Interesting.
he was her kind of?
It could be like someone he was related to that he loved, a woman that he loved, or like a friend.
I mean, like, but what do you call Deaton? Deaton is a.
He's
kind of like a guide for all the wolves.
Yeah, people are gonna get some of
werewolves,
this,
right?
yeah.
So like maybe the desert wolf was like his like first werewolf or something like that he led or something.
It does sound like Deaton has a relationship with the Desert Wolf, and so does Peter. So that's going to be
that's a-
Oh, snap.
interesting. What's going on
I
there?
love that triangle though. I love that triangle.
That's an interesting triangle, and I must say she definitely had a diverse taste. You have the total good guy and then the total
She has quite
iron
diverse
stabbing guy.
tastes, yes.
Yeah.
We will see
Well,
how
women
that
are
plays
complex.
You guys are complex, beautiful creatures.
I want to talk about Argent again. Parrish comes in and presents a beautiful thing for him. Argent's lost so much. He's ready to just give up and die. And Parrish is
So sad.
bringing up, I don't care if you have to use your daughter, Allison, or your sister, or whoever, but, let that be fuel. And you need to get back in the game and help fight this fight.
Yeah, he has like a Captain America thing, like a
Parrish?
some
Yeah, he
sort
does.
of like superhero kind of quality to about him.
I love where Parrish is taking this
Yeah,
character. I love what they're
love it.
giving him. I mean, he totally came in as like the positive hero. I'm here to save the day, and like totally had all the
Yeah.
right words of encouragement.
Totally.
And I mean, can we talk about those eyes?
All right,
Yeah.
I feel like he's definitely going to be presented as a phoenix, like, next episode. I feel
Either-
like he's going to have to come in and save the day as a phoenix,
Either
right?
a phoenix or I want to like. Yeah, somebody on the NW West Side, Nicholas, said that like he might be one of the 13 kitsunes, which I had no idea about. Like,
I never heard of those.
yeah, I
the
never
13.
heard of 13 kitsunes before.
I feel like they're not going to bring the Kitsune storyline
Yeah.
back, though. But that's really interesting that
Yeah.
he saw that, because it could definitely be.
That's
But I'm
definitely
going
cool.
for the phoenix too.
Yeah, I would definitely say the Phoenix. I mean, the way that rod, there's only so many things that can bend metal and
And rise from the ashes.
Yeah, seriously. So
Yeah.
the way
Right.
that he definitely had to have heated that up and not even realized it.
I have a question for you guys. Did he actually need Argent's help?
I didn't. I thought about the same thing.
Oh,
I don't think so.
I don't think he did either. I think he wanted Argent to want to live, and so he gave him that speech. and asked him to use his pain as fuel. And I think going forward, once you have that sort of talk with someone to turn their pain into fuel, everything they've gone to, let that fuel you rather than like turn you into someone who doesn't want to live. Let it help you live twice, you know? Let it help you really fuel your life going forward. And I feel like we might see a different Argent after this. Because if Parrish is the Phoenix, I don't think he needed his help.
Yeah.
But does he know? But did he know he was the Phoenix? That was my thing. Like that's a really cool way to put it. But for me, I think it's like he's just discovering it as he goes. Like all this is just so new, and so it's like it was a very collective moment for them both.
I feel like by helping Argent helped Parrish. You know?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Totally.
Like I feel like like you said, there was like this like synergistic thing that happened where they both helped each other get to where they needed to go.
And I like their partnership, and I hope that, you know, after this, Argent does, you know, have a fuel for life and a little spark, and he continues to be part of the pack, because I like him.
I love Argent. He's so, I mean, talk about character arcs, going from a family of killing wolves to now protecting them to losing your daughter to
losing your wife.
That takes a lot of understanding in a human being.
Yeah. So the internet fans claimed that last week the yellow flower he found was just wolf's bane that the orphans used to poison Satomi's pack. Which I don't feel like we got that in the show, but that's what the fandom is saying.
I get that, yeah.
For sure. I mean, I definitely, you know, that's why Brett was on such a loose cannon ready to attack him. You know, he definitely sensed and recognized that scent and immediately went into attack mode.
Oh, so that was right.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
That is
okay,
clear.
The fans have spoken.
The fans know best.
They know.
They truly do, especially Teen Wolf fans.
Oh yeah.
So Scott takes Kira on a first date. Finally, to Derek's loft.
First date.
And it was very like Edison, like old timey with the lights everywhere.
So romantic.
It was very romantic.
It was cool. I mean, he definitely took, you know, her powers into consideration by allowing her to have that, you know, it's like a supernatural cute moment between two supernaturals. It's like, you know, I'm the wolf and I know you work with electricity and voila. And props to you, Scott, my man, Mr. Romeo.
It was very thought out, and you know what? I think that's what's lacking from the dating world at this point. It's like, sure, let's go to a movie, or sure, let's go get dinner or coffee, but it's like, did you try to find out anything about this person before you plan this date to try to implement that into the first date?
How do you what do I do?
Spotlight on Cody.
I have to admit, I'm definitely a Romeo at heart. Yeah, no, I totally am. I mean,
all the girls are just melting.
They're crying at home.
There was a time for this girl that I dated. It was raining and she couldn't kiss me, and so I went to her room and I got a giant bag of Hershey caramel kisses, and there's like this metal rod with like 7 layers of, you know, metal rods, and I taped in the rain like every Hershey kiss to this thing, and I told her to come out, and I said, since I can't kiss you, I made a whole wall of Hershey kisses.
Oh my
that is
gosh.
So
Wait, why
sweet.
couldn't she kiss you? Was it like a religious thing?
No. No.
Inappropriate?
No. I mean, to be honest, we were just going through like a weird little patch, and it was one of those.
Oh,
and
got it.
You know.
I bet she wanted to after that, though.
Yeah.
See, that's all it takes. Like, you can get mad and run away from that conversation, or you can be creative like you did.
Yeah.
And
romantic.
I think that probably fixed it, too, right?
It did. No, it definitely brought us a lot closer, and you know, that's, you know, I think when you care about someone, you should definitely go the extra mile and show as to why you do.
Yeah. I am so sad that I just haven't seen that in dating. Like, with my friends, just our generation, I feel like it's changed.
Is a lost cause.
Yeah.
It's a lost act.
It's just like putting in that extra effort, you know, and making it more of a personalized thing. But Scott definitely did that.
Scott did it.
And they were going to watch Star Wars, but then Kate and the Berserkers bust in and ruin their first date. They can't even enjoy their first date because it was getting hot and heavy.
I know. I mean, goodness gracious.
I don't know where things were going.
I think we all
I think we all do.
Come on.
I mean,
Maybe not.
I can only speculate, but the
Oh, wow.
the
Heat of the
movie
moment.
got paused.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And
Oh my
I
gosh.
hope to see that later. Hopefully, next
We're seeing
season.
what later?
Like the rest of that play out. Like first date again.
I'm with you.
Oh, okay. First date again. Okay.
And hit play, yeah. So Scott fights Kate while Kira is badass and grabs those chains and whips around the berserker, but they end up getting taken to Mexico anyway, to the church, the catacombs in the church.
Well, the
And-
viewers had a couple of interesting points that
what did they
I
say?
agree. Like, what was happening that we didn't really see Kira tap into her electrical powers.
Yeah.
And we didn't really see Scott tap into his alpha powers, which I understand more because he's afraid of being that true alpha,
Right.
especially a couple. Last episode he had that scary ship.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I was wondering what happened.
why Kira's
Was there something that was blocking that or broken?
I don't know, because we haven't really seen Kira's powers for a long time. I remember when we first saw it, it was on top of that hospital and there was electricity. I mean, she shut down the electricity in the town, I think. So it's she definitely has some power there. And I think for Scott, I feel like they're saving it for the finale. I feel like we have to see the alpha come out. I mean, especially if people are all attacking him and his pack. And
Yeah.
Kate blames Scott
I
for
know.
ruining her family's
That
life.
was really heartfelt, I felt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, now it makes sense why she's helping Peter. And she politely invites everyone to her church.
Which was
Right. I was like, what?
It's time to pray. Did you guys
Oh
see the
my-
hashtag?
yeah. Oh,
that was
yeah.
a
That
very
was-
smart hashtag. Time
Yeah.
to pray.
Oh yeah.
So Kira wakes up in the cages in the catacombs, and then Kate goes through the story about Artemis and Octagon, Octaeon. The myth where Octaeon was a hunter and saw the goddess Artemis, and Artemis
Bathing nude.
was very upset about this and turned him into a deer, and this caused a frenzy beneath his hunting dogs, and his hunting dogs actually attacked him and killed him, and that's why she's turning Scott into a berserker, so his pack will now be hunting him.
Yeah. I love all of this little bits of mythology.
I
too.
do
It's
It's
So
really
cool.
interesting.
It's really
Yeah.
awesome.
You know what that made me think about, though, is who are the other two berserkers? Did Kate turn two people into berserkers?
Wow.
That's what I was
That's really
thinking.
interesting. Yeah. One thing that and maybe I don't know if it's because I didn't see part of the show, is I didn't understand how did she get the berserkers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's not really
it's not
clear.
really explained.
I didn't think so, but that was one thing I didn't. That was one thing I was always wondering. I was like, dude, why do you get two awesome bodyguards?
Well, I mean, maybe she turned him like she just did
Yeah.
Scott.
Well, I mean, if she can, if she can turn Derek back into a little kid and make him progressively lose his powers, I think anything's up for debate.
I think we're going to find out more of
Yeah.
that next week because
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
back in the church and we can kind of figure out what's going in there, why it's
Yeah.
got so much power.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But how do you guys think this is going to affect Scott? Now, is he going to be hypnotized into fighting for Kate and being bad? Is he going to have to feel like he has to fight against his pack? How is being a berserker going to change him?
Yeah, and also, is it going to make him grow, is my question, too. I know a lot of people are asking that question because he's,
really
so much
interesting.
shorter
They're
than
going to
the
recognize
berserkers.
that there's a
Way
short berserker.
smaller. He's much
That's-
shorter than the other berserkers.
That's really funny. I mean, to me, I don't know anything, but to me, it almost would seem like maybe the mask has some possessive, conjuring quality,
like
maybe
that,
too. Because
yeah.
the mask, they always emphasize on the mask. They do show the full bodies, but there's something about that mask that's very almost, I want to say
Yes.
demonic.
Like Jim
Yes.
Carrey mask.
Yes,
Totally.
exactly. Yeah.
Totally.
I like that.
is
I hadn't
demonic.
quite thought of it like that. And I kind of hope that the berserkers aren't berserkers and that it is two people that maybe she turned that maybe
Saved.
we would
Yeah.
know. I don't know. I would kind of like to see
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
If it was
Who would
people-
it be, you think?
What if it was two dead characters, she
Yeah,
revived
I know.
them?
That would
I know.
be
And then it's oh my god.
Isaac.
Oh, that would
Isaac's
be,
not coming back because he didn't die. He just kind of left. the
Right.
show.
Well, maybe she just done
But
kidnapped
what if it
him
was
and-
like? I mean, a lot of people would love to see Allison back. I don't think that would happen.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
But who else could we bring back?
I don't think Jackson's
Victoria
gonna come back.
Argent.
Oh my god.
That'd be amazing.
Honestly, I'd be so happy. And I know that there are a lot of fans that would be happy to see Victoria Argent back.
People were talking about how great it would be that she's kind of the only person that could really take on Peter.
Yeah. No, I know.
I agree with that.
That's true.
I agree.
Yeah, I would love to have her back, and imagine if she was also superhero, because she was already such a badass,
Yeah.
protective mother. Like,
totally.
yes, we want her
That
back.
would be nuts. Wow, yeah.
That would be crazy.
So Scott and Kira are obviously late to the game and not showing up, and Peter shows up and sits next to Malia. And
Not a good episode for Peter.
he asks Malia to kill Kate Argent. Now,
Yeah.
do you guys, because like she doesn't have anyone, and you know what, it's definitely tempting for her. This is something that comes natural to her.
Well, also, to put in consideration, it's that, father-daughter just relationship. I mean, anyone that's, there's always just going to be that extra influence just because they're blood and they're related.
Yeah.
That's tough.
We were talking about last week how, you always want to make your father proud, so
course.
he's asking her to do something. And also, in exchange, she gets to find out who her mother is.
Yeah. I
Which,
feel like, oh my
is
god.
he lying? Has he found her?
I just feel like there's so many wrong things happening.
Yeah.
Totally.
First of all, he's turning his back on Kate, but like in such a, I feel like he can kill
Why does he
Kate.
want Kate dead?
He can kill Kate because I feel like he's using her to get Scott killed, right? To get that part of the dirty deed done because she knows how to do it, whereas he doesn't. And then he won't need her.
He's doing one of those things where he's like turning everyone's eyes away from him and at each
Yes.
other, so that way it's almost like this
Yes.
crossfire, and then he's just going to be the last one who literally barely sweated a bullet.
Yes.
You're right.
That's exactly what
I think you're exactly right there, because he needs to get to Scott, and if he puts everybody else against somebody else, it's just going to be him and Scott in the middle. You're so right about that. I like that. So, also, do you guys think that Malia's even capable of killing Kate, though? We've
know.
seen Kate, take Scott down this episode.
She's pretty fierce.
But we haven't really seen Malia. I mean, she was out in the wild killing for years, all alone, fending for herself, so she can probably get pretty nasty.
I definitely think, Malia has more control of her powers, but I think that Kate is a more dangerous power, and she hasn't quite harnessed it yet. I think if Kate harnessed everything, I don't think that there'd be a shot, but I think, with this, someone who, knows their magic that they can wield.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Now, if Malia does end up killing Kate, how do you think that will affect her relationship with the Pact?
Well,
because Scott says no killing.
No killing. But you know what? I feel like he's gonna understand.
You know what? It's okay that you broke that policy. That was a crazy sociopath werejagger, and she killed pretty much everyone and turned me into berserker. You're okay.
I feel like we're gonna have like a Game of Thrones kind of thing happen in the finale where like so many people die because we haven't had a lot of people dying lately. So I feel like Kate's gonna die. I feel like Peter's gonna die, and I think Malia's gonna kill Kate. And I think Scott will kill Peter. And I think Liam will kill a berserker.
I like those.
Ooh, I could
good.
for sure see Liam killing a berserker, and
I
that
feel
would
like that's
establishing
necessary.
his new teen wolfness, and
and joining and committing to Scott's path.
Yeah, and that just shows that he's really harnessed who he is. To me, what I think, I don't know anything, but I think that a lot of the villains aren't gonna die. That's gonna carry on to the next. I don't know. I think that something's gonna be maybe not died. I definitely think some are gonna die, but I think that something's gonna be unresolved for sure.
Yeah. I feel that way too. There was a little clip that we got to see for next week where Peter is saying to Malia, well, would you kill to save Stiles? Because I definitely think that Scott would kill to save Kira. So, do you guys think that that's true? Do you think Scott would kill to save Kira? And Leah, obviously, she'd kill to save Stiles. That's not even a second guess.
Yeah. I think so. I think
You think
Scott
he would?
I think Scott
That might
would.
be what happens too.
I think Scott, I think depending on the circumstance and who the person is, I think, me personally, I think Scott would find a way to not have to do either. Because that's just what he does.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
He always finds a way.
But then, like, don't you feel like, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I'm so conflicted.
Teen Wolf will do that to you.
Yes,
I love it.
does.
I love it.
It's like being a teenager again.
Yeah.
We're so confused. I'm so
hilarious.
confused. I'm like an adult teenager. Well, I want to get in, before we roll into predictions, I want to first get into a little interview one-on-one
Yes.
with you, Cody,
Totally,
because we want to learn more about you. We're so
Yeah.
excited you're here.
So excited.
We want to know about the man behind Brett. So I always ask, what specifically from your childhood do you think led you into wanting to be an actor?
Oh, wow. I think definitely for sure, me being adopted for sure.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Didn't know that.
Yeah, I was taken away actually at the age of 9, and I was officially adopted at the age of 12.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it definitely worked out for the way it should be, and you know, I think, you know, my story's not like I've said this repeatedly. My story's not different. Like, I definitely went through a lot of crazy shit, but acting gave me a place to, I think, motion all those emotions and deal with them in a creative, positive way.
Yeah.
I do think that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's very
I
cool.
totally know
Yeah,
what you
totally.
mean. Yeah.
So were you putting on plays? What was like the very first thing you think that you just felt this release from performing?
The first
it a
time that I did it,
class,
yeah,
or-
it was my first acting class of anything ever, and it was with a casting director by the name of Joey Paul Jensen. She works with Disney, and she gave me this very long, very dramatic, intense, like, sobbing monologue, and I looked at it,
Wow.
and I just,
And this was your first piece ever?
yeah, I know, right? She just threw me to the wolves, and
my
I had this like long blonde like Justin Bieber hair at the time, like flippy
Nice.
Ryan Sheckler.
Oh my goodness.
And I read it like 3 or 4 times. I went in there, and you know, I literally just laid my heart out on that stage, and then, you know, I looked up at, whenever I was done, I looked up and everyone just had tears in their eyes.
Wow.
And you know, for me, I was good at sports, but I was never the star athlete. I was never the star at anything. And for me, you know, I was 14 years old. I felt like I finally found Cody's niche, and it impacted people
Wow.
in a really big way, and that solidified it for me.
That's amazing.
For sure.
That's a fantastic story.
Yeah.
So what was sort of like your first gig? I think I heard you did some modeling and whatnot,
Yeah,
right?
I did some modeling, and that was, you know, just, there was a girl that I liked, and I was like, oh, maybe if I become an Abercrombie model, she'll like me. And so, like, that was literally it.
That was your motivation?
For the modeling, yes, which then led into acting.
that's awesome.
That's hilarious.
Did it work out for you? Did she like you?
Did you find a better girl?
You know, you know, it's really funny. She had, you know, it's really interesting. She had the dream of moving out to California and pursuing all this, and without her, like, planting that seed and me
Wow.
having feelings for her, I would have actually, you know, sort of never actually came out here. I would have never thought to come out to
Well,
California.
where are you from originally?
Ohio.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Steelers.
Oh, we're playing you. Our first game, we're playing the Browns.
Yeah, you are.
Next week.
I
It's
am
going to be
so
intense.
It's going down.
I'm stepping back.
So, who is like your influences that you kind of look up to?
I would definitely have to say, you know, my mom. My mom that adopted me. I mean, you know, she's a single mom. She's never been
Wow.
married, and you know, she took on this kid and completely, you know, changed my whole life, like
Wow.
in so many ways.
That's amazing.
She literally gave me a brand new start at life, and just, you know, she has so much integrity, and she has good morals, and she's successful, and so I definitely consider her one of my, if not my biggest role model, for sure.
That's amazing.
That's so cool.
It's,
Yeah.
it's so nice to hear a positive adoption story. I mean, I was
Yeah.
watching American Ninja Warrior actually the other day, and one of the do you watch the show?
I know, but it has a funny title.
It's a really awesome show.
Okay.
But one of the ninjas that was had a kind of like similar story in the
Yeah.
essence of his positive experience with adoption. I
Yeah.
feel like that's an important message, you know?
It is. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, with adoption, all those cases, you know, they can go usually one of two ways. You can either, you know, let it define you and go down that negative path, or you know, you can choose, which is what I feel is the one thing I did different.
Yes.
I've said that before, is I let it strengthen me. I let life give me a crazy situation, and I got so much stronger from it, because now I'm in a position that I can inspire other people. I can help people that when they feel they're at their worst, like, dude, I was there and even then some, like, it sounds very cheesy cliche, but you can do it. You can do anything.
No,
I think you're
that's
right.
fantastic that you're using, you know, you were saying earlier you went from like 4,000 followers to like 35,000 or whatever it is, and I'm sure that's going to keep going, but it's it's great that you're using that power to really help influence people, because you know, some celebrities will like tweet out pictures of them half naked, but you're tweeting out like inspirational
I'd be
quotes
guilty if I
and
didn't
stuff.
have a couple of those.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean, though. No one's complaining about that, but I'm just saying it's more about them getting validation. Most of those people, it's completely about getting validation from the fans for themselves.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is really for other people, and not so much looking in. So it's really great that you're using it that way.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I think it's a choice. And I think when you emphasize that you chose, because really that's all it is. It's a choice.
Yeah, I mean, dude, everyone says, you know, why are you so positive? Why are you so positive? I'm like, dude, do you think it's easy always being positive? Like, being negative is just the lazy man's way of thinking. Like, and if you're most of the time people are choosing to be stuck in that. And for me, I was like, no, I don't want to feel negative. I don't want to feel lethargic throughout my day. Like, I'm going to feel positive. I'm going to give it to other people, and then I'm going to go take care of business and moves.
You're so contagious. I love it. I love it.
Please come back.
So, quick question. I noticed the tattoo. Do they put makeup on it for the show?
Yeah, they absolutely do. MTV's super cool about, you know, covering my tattoos. You know, I definitely
Is that a dragon and a truth with a
snake?
This is a snake.
We're just going to peel this off, you know?
It seems like we should probably take off one of your layers.
I mean, like, does anybody
It's getting a little...
That's hilarious. I mean, we need to see what these are.
Cody is a Gemini.
Cody is a Gemini. I have a Gemini tattoo on me.
I'm a Gemini.
You're a Gemini.
Yes.
Airpod.
What am I doing here?
No, you are the Leo. No, you balance us crazy Geminis out.
Yes, I'm a Cancer Leo, so I am the balancer, the yin and the yang.
Yeah, you are, baby.
No, but Geminis, I do love Geminis. They're twice as much fun, twice as much energetic, twice as intelligent, because we're like two people in one.
Twice as humble.
Twice as crazy.
Twice as great. Yeah, I agree, though.
Yes.
And modest.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm totally into astrology. I think it's really cool.
Me too.
You know, I'm not, to be honest, I'm not usually into the day-to-day horoscopes, but like, you know, when you look at like the time you were born, the place, like, you know, I think it's really interesting, you know, and you might get something you learn about yourself, you might not. It might be a cool read, might just be a waste of your time.
Right, great. Can you talk about any other projects or self-projects that you're working on right now?
Yeah, I just, I'm doing a modeling gig with Justin Bieber.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I booked, I'm like the lead model for his new campaign. It's called Gold Digger Clothing.
Wow.
And, I heard.
How exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you so
congrats.
much. It was crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting, funny story the way it worked out. I was inviting someone to my birthday that I had. It was like a belated party. And then they just linked us up, and him and his designer, Elijah Steen, is going to be, you know, they released some pictures, and so it's going to be really cool.
Oh, cool.
That's
when can we
awesome.
see it?
It's on my Instagram right now.
It's on right now?
Yeah, it's on
Okay.
right now.
Everybody.
What's your Instagram?
My Instagram is at Cody Saintgnue, and it's CodySaintnew.
I noticed you changed Saintgnue so people could actually pronounce it correctly.
Exactly.
I like it. I like it.
Marketing.
That's very smart.
Yeah.
Marketing, branding. We love it. Before we head into predictions, can you tell us maybe one of your funniest moments on set, or just a memorable something that happened on set?
The most memorable thing, you know, there's two actually. There's one where Jeff Davis was like, "Hey, I want to show you something," and I was like, I just got into set, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Oh shit, am I in trouble? Did I do something?" And then he brings me back to his writer's room, and he shows me. This is before the first episode even came out, and he showed me that I was in the trailer. And, you know, for me, I hadn't worked in a very long time. I've worked on House, and I've done some big guest stars, but like nothing like this. And, you know, to see yourself part of a trailer, you know, I actually, to be honest, I teared up. I was like,
definitely.
It was such a surreal moment. And so there was that. And then, so that was like very memorable.
Yeah,
and then the
that's
second part was J.R. Bourne just talking with me on set, like, you know, because he's an OG. I think he's an amazing actor.
He is.
I think he's so cool, just so badass and good. And we just talked about acting on the side of grass for like an hour while we both were on a break, and you know, he was just I looked at him, like, you know, after that, like a mentor. And so just that
was there
talk.
like specific words that you remember that sort of influenced you?
Yeah, like he was just, you know, talking about how, like, you know, a lot of actors think like actors, and, you know, we're human beings, and, you know, like if you're gonna play someone who's like, say, you know, a heroin addict, you know, a lot of the people in the world haven't done heroin, so like, how do you even relate to that? And he just stripped it down to, this is a person, this is a human being that is going through this, they have this sadness in their life, and how do you connect this with this? And at the core of it, we're all humans, we all have hearts and emotions, and then you just tack on to like the technicalities of how someone would be moving like that. And it was just the way, everything he said just made so much sense, and I was like, yeah. Okay, yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah, no, it's great to have those sort of mentors in your life who say a little bit of words here that, you know, you take with you throughout your career.
Do you have like an acting note on your phone where you like add notes?
Oh, all the time.
Like, I have one of those.
Oh, for sure. I mean, even in my notes on my iPhone, I already have notes of myself from Brett last night, and that I've written down. And you know, I take what I do very seriously. I really care about it a lot.
Yeah.
So.
well,
Yeah, definitely.
you're doing a fantastic job.
Yeah,
Thank you
I
so
feel
much.
like that's why Jeff and everybody at the writers' room is kind of giving you such an autonomy.
Yeah, I heard you're supposed to die like the first episode.
That happens all the time. Like, I'm sure they just saw what an amazing job you were doing, and they just knew. They just knew that Brett's character had to go on, which is why I'm saying he's definitely coming back.
You're so
I agree.
sweet.
Yeah.
Well, let's roll into predictions and talk about a few things before we roll out.
Cool.
I jumped the gun.
And now,
That's my prediction. Brett's gonna come.
I like that.
Yeah.
We'll stick with that.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna stick with that.
So it looks like Derek's in trouble. And the fans were saying maybe Scott can bite Derek and he can come back again as a werewolf.
I agree.
I think that might happen too.
Ooh, that would be
support
really
that.
cool. I support that.
And I think we decided that it seems like Kate's going to die.
Yeah.
I don't think Peter's going to die. I know you said you
God,
do.
I was so angry with him.
I think it's because I
needs to
don't
be
want him
punished.
I think the
to.
reverse.
He needs to be punished.
You think Peter will die and Kate will continue on?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's interesting. That's
Because
interesting.
that.
you know, if I'm talking about it, you know, Peter's already had a long character arc. This is a werejagger, and this is it's interesting. It's new. It's
That's a good point.
It's dangerous. It's a whole other field, and I think maybe her learning to harness her powers and then us having to deal with that would be a whole other thing. That'd be crazy.
Totally.
I agree with
And
that.
just-
I just love Peter, so it's hard for me to let go.
I know.
He's
I
like
love
that.
him.
He's like the guy who tortures you when
Yeah.
you're dating you, and when you're dating someone that like tortures you. It's like the bad dater guy.
They're better. You gotta move. You gotta drop those kind of guys.
I gotta drop Peter from my life.
Yeah.
He's abusive, but I love him. Oh God.
We need to send her some inspirational tweets.
We do, yes, on the way.
I'm just
sending her.
joking, guys.
She sees the best in everyone.
Yeah,
That's
she
the way
does.
we'll
I
look
do.
at
That's
it.
kind of how
I
she
understand
is.
that.
No,
Yeah.
she is like that. Yeah.
So the
I'm a
pack.
heartless bitch.
No, you're not.
You heard it first on AfterBuzz TV. So it looks like the pack's going to Mexico to rescue Scott, and it does seem like Kira recognizes him. It seemed from like a preview, so hopefully.
No, I think I know. It sounds like berserkers have him.
Scott's a berserker.
Scott is him, but it actually has him.
Scott.
Like I saw it again. I watched it twice with captions, and like the first time I thought like Scott is a berserker or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, where it sounded.
I think they're gonna figure it out though.
Yeah,
either
they
way,
are.
obviously.
They're gonna figure it out.
Cody, where can we follow you?
You can follow me at Cody Saintgnue, CodySaintnew.
I love it. June, where can we follow you?
Miss June Lee, MS_JUNELEE.
Fantastic. You guys can follow me at Cinematic Escape on Twitter, or you can check out my blog, cinematicescape.com. And please join us next week for the finale. We're so excited. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Sweet.
AfterBuzz TV.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.